Coach Garner here from hockeytraining.com, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about post-game recovery, and we're going to be giving you the complete solution so you can recover as fast as possible. Listen, recovery is key, not just in the off-season, but especially in the in-season, because you're only ever going to perform to the degree that you are recovered. This is why it's so important and why I always stress off-season programming is different than in-season programming. You need to be on an in-season specific program because in-season specific programs revolve around maximal recovery. Because if you're sore from your training, or if you're drained from your training, or let's just say you had a poor diet or a poor sleep, let's say the combination of these things allowed you to recover 60% from your previous game or 60% from your previous workout. If you're recovered 60%, how well do you think you're going to perform tonight? At 60%. It's the exact correlation. You will perform to the degree that you are recovered. Because if you're not recovered, neurotransmitter optimization is going to be down, your electrolyte status is going to be off, your hormone balance is going to be off. You literally just won't have the energy substrates with respect to amino acids and glycogen in your body ready to rock and roll. Your nervous system is going to be tired. There's so many factors that all focus on recovery. So you got to focus on recovery. And if you want to be an elite hockey player, you want to focus on fast recovery. So fast tracking the process. Now, if you followed my nutrition recommendations in the past, you're actually starting the recovery from the game before the game's even over. Because your pregame meal and your intra-game shake are actually replenishing and repairing your body as you are depleting energy substrates and breaking down muscle tissue. But when you have your nutrition in check, you're able to offset that. So instead of digging a 6-foot deep ditch of recovery during the game, when you have a pregame meal and an intra-game shake, you may only dig like a 1-foot deep ditch of recovery and debt need because you were refilling your body as it was being depleted. So nutrition's really key. But post-game is when you can really take advantage of a lot of factors because now you're done depleting and now you're done breaking down tissue. So now we can focus solely on rebuilding tissue. It's a 3-step process if you want to cover all your bases. First and foremost, we got the nutritional reload. So just like it's important to have pre and intra-game nutrition, your post-game nutrition's got to be on point as well. What are we trying to do? Get you hydrated, get your electrolyte status back to homeostasis, refill the glycogen that was depleted during the game, and repair your muscle tissue with the appropriate amount of amino acids. How are we going to accomplish all 4 of these? 0.5 gram of protein per kilo of body weight immediately post-game, 1 gram of carbohydrates per kilo of body weight immediately post-game, and 500 milligrams of sodium, which is like just a little pinch. Now, what do I recommend? Well, if you want to have a whole food meal, that is okay, but what I've found in both the scientific literature as well as practical experience working with tons of athletes, it's way easier to just have a post-game shake ready to go in your bag. That way, you can have the shake while you're still sweating. You can have the shake and start the recovery process instantaneously rather than getting undressed, talking, leaving the arena, going home, heating up a meal, and then eating. That delay in process, you're allowing what's known as a catabolic state, a state of tissue breakdown. You're allowing a catabolic state of your muscle tissue to extend. You are not replenishing glycogen at a fast rate when your body is most willing to uptake that glycogen into muscle cells, and you're also remaining in a dehydrated state. So you're delaying something that should never be delayed if you care about reaching your hockey potential. So it's my opinion that a supplementation-based approach here is excellent because A, we can be more accurate with the exact amounts of protein and carbohydrates we're going to take in. B, supplementation allows us to choose protein and carbohydrate options that metabolize quickly. So if you were to have a steak and sweet potatoes to match this meal, or if you were to have whey isolate and a fast-absorbing, highly branched cyclic dextrin, for example, of carbohydrates, your whey isolate and branched cyclic dextrin are going to be in and out of your system about an hour, whereas sweet potato and steak, that's really going to take anywhere from 5 to even 7 hours to totally get uptaken into the system. In my opinion, I think you want fast. We want that complete, we want to replenish the body as fast as possible. And then we can have another meal about an hour to 2 later to recover even greater, because our bodies, the gastric clearance has already taken place. Your muscles are taken care of, hydration's taken care of, your glycogen's taken care of, it's all taken care of. So I'm a huge fan of just making a shake before the game and then just keeping it in your bag, and just put the powder right in the shaker, and then when you're done the game, you've got a water bottle or go to a fountain, add some water to it, shake that thing up, you're good to go. What are you going to do? Add a little bit of sprinkle, ideally of pink salt. I wrote sodium here because it's technically just sodium that we're after, because we deplete twice as much sodium during exercise as we do potassium. So it's important to get that sodium back into the system. But I'm a big fan of utilizing pink salts, because pink salts contain a lot of trace minerals that have a lot of other health boosting effects for our physiology. So instead of just getting sodium chloride, which is like table salt, I think it's a better vehicle to use pink salt, because we're still getting the sodium, but we're also getting other benefits at the exact same time for performance and for health. So the nutritional reload, 0.5 gram of protein per kilo of body weight, 1 gram of carbohydrates per kilo of body weight, a pinch of salt. What does this look like? Well, if you're an 80 kilo athlete, which is like somewhere around 175 pounds or something like that, you would have your 80 kilos, right? So 40 grams of protein, 80 grams of carbohydrate, pinch of salt. You can do it in whole food, or you can do it in supplementation, up to you. I prefer supplementation, especially if it's tournaments or playoffs when you want to recover as fast as possible. All right, nutritional reload, check. Number 2, active recovery. Active recovery, the research is very clear that you'll actually recover at a faster rate if you do low intensity activity in comparison to nothing at all. There's a lot of reasons for this, mostly revolving around blood flow to working muscle tissues. So when you have trained very hard, or if you've played a very hard game, there's a reason there's soreness in those muscles. You've got a lot of what's known as fatigue metabolite buildup in those muscles, which creates that burning feeling that you feel out in the ice and in training. But you've also just literally broken down muscle fibers as well. So when you increase blood flow to these areas, you're creating a type of flushing effect where you can flush the fatigue metabolites out of there, and you can also flush damaged cell debris from damaged muscle fibers out of there at a faster rate as well. And you're getting these things out of those localized areas to enhance the recovery process. Furthermore, since you're sending blood flow down there to clean everything up, well, that blood flow is also carrying your glucose. It's carrying your amino acids. It's carrying the hydration and electrolytes. It's carrying everything you already did right here. So active recovery is key, and there's also excellent research to suggest that when you have a blood flow flushing effect like this in a post-workout or post-game environment, then you can actually take lactate from a fatigued muscle, redistribute it back to the liver, and the liver can convert this into glucose. So you can literally convert a fatigue metabolite from energy expenditure out in the ice into new energy to then be reused by the body. Biology is an absolutely amazing thing, but only when you do it right. So don't go hard here. Active recovery it's in the name. We're recovering. We're not extending the workout. So 10 minutes of aerobic work, it should be like 50%. You're just moving. That's all this is. And aerobic work of your choice, you could get on a bike, you could go for a jog, you could do a quick mobility circuit, you could do the rower, you could go swimming. My only advice here is that a lot of people like to just get on the bike immediately after a game. That's definitely good, right? It's way better than nothing, but you create a fatigue in the whole body. So I would rather you create a flushing effect in the upper and lower body rather than just the lower body. A bike is probably going to be good for creating a flushing effect within the lower body, but if you think about something like an elliptical or swimming or getting on a rower or doing an aerobic circuit, these are all things that incorporate total body. And hockey is total body performance, which means total body fatigue, which means we're probably going to get more benefits from a total body flushing effect. So 10 minutes of total body, low intensity aerobic work. And then you want to pair that with 3 to 5 dynamic or static stretches. Now I'm going to leave this up to you, because this is very tailor-made towards whatever your current issues are. What would I do? Well, if I had tight hips, well then maybe a couple of my exercises here are going to be very hip focused. If I've got tight ankles, then maybe it's going to be ankle focused. If I struggle with my thoracic rotation, perhaps it's going to be thoracic rotation focused. So everybody has different tightnesses, everybody has different stability problems, everybody has different balance problems, everybody has different flexibility problems. It's all comes down to what your priority is. Now, a lot of hockey players have tight hips, so usually it's very hip focused, but anywhere from 3 to 5, you can do dynamic or static flexibility. Dynamic is like mobility in motion, like a knee hug to reverse lunge, whereas static is just that hold, where you're holding it for, say, 30 seconds or so. We don't want to do static stretching pre-game, but it's absolutely beneficial post-game. It's something you can do without any issues whatsoever. Once your active recovery period is done, then you move on to parasympathetic activation. So what the heck is parasympathetic activation? Well, your nervous system has 2 big branches to it, the sympathetic branch and the parasympathetic branch. Sympathetic, fight or flight. Parasympathetic, rest and digest. So we use the sympathetic nervous system the entire game because we're activating glucocorticoids, we're activating dopamine, we're activating epinephrine and norepinephrine, we're activating cortisol, we're activating all of these things associated with sympathetic fight or flight activation during the game. But as fast as possible, we want to activate parasympathetic activation post-game because remember, sympathetic fight or flight, parasympathetic rest and digest. Rest and digest allows you to digest and assimilate nutrients more efficiently. It's going to improve blood flow. It's calming down stress hormones, so then it's reducing catabolism and increasing anabolism. It's creating an internal chemical environment that fosters fast recovery. And all you got to do is deep breathing, okay? And actually a cool trick. Carbohydrate intake in large amounts post-workout has been demonstrated to increase parasympathetic activity by reducing cortisol levels. So this kind of kicks this off, and then this also kicks this off because we're creating that flushing effect, but you want to slam the door on sympathetic activation because the longer that system's activated, the longer you're in a state of tissue breakdown and not in tissue repair. And the research is super clear. You can flip on the parasympathetic nervous system like a light switch if you do deep belly breathing. So I recommend a minimum of 2 minutes, but if you want an A+ grade, go all the way up to 5 minutes. All you would be doing here is laying on your back, trying to get a flat spine, nasal breathing only. Do not breathe through the mouth. Nasal breathing only, and big belly breaths. Your belly should be moving up and down for every breath, and your chest should not be moving up and down for every breath. Okay? This is how we fast-track recovery to fast-track your performance so that you can reach your hockey potential this year. Get the nutritional reload in immediately, and then chug that shake. When the shake is done, or even drinking the shake during the active recovery. It's very easy to walk on a treadmill and drink something at the same time, or go for a walk and drink something at the same time. You want to have this shake immediately, and then do your 10 minutes of low-intensity aerobic work, followed up by 3 to 5 dynamic or static mobility movements based around your current priority, and then finish it off with 2 to 5 minutes of deep breathing for maximal parasympathetic activation so you can maximize your recovery. I can't stress it enough. You will only ever perform to the degree that you are recovered. Follow these 3 steps, you are going to dominate. Thanks so much for watching the video. As always, like and subscribe to this channel so I know to keep making more killer videos for you. And for everything you need, go to hockeytraining.com. And if you want to see me do a video on a particular hockey science topic, let me know in the comments section below. Let's go.